So now we look at a classless addressing, right? So this classless addressing is my C idea. Now in classless, see, we know the disadvantages of classful addressing. So in classful addressing, lots of IP addresses are wasted, right? If you take an example of class A also, if we need addresses of say 1 lakhs, still we are wasting 1 crores of address because the remaining IP addresses cannot be assigned to any other network and it will be just waste. Correct. So we are moving for classless addressing. Now, what is the concept of this classless addressing? That so in classless addressing, the first important part is no classes are assigned. Only blocks are will be assigned by a authority, which is IANA authority. Which are these number of blocks are the blocks as per the requirement of a user. So so whatever is the requirement of a user, those many number of addresses will be assigned directly. There is no need of going with the classful addressing where we waste lots of addresses when we go for this network ID and host ID part, a fixed network ID and fixed host ID part. Correct. So over here in classless addressing, we have block ID and host ID. In a classless addressing, we have block ID and host ID. Right? What does it mean? Here we have number of blocks and the number of hosts per block. That is what is given for the classless address. Now, what is the notation for this classless addressing? As we have seen yesterday also, it will be x dot y dot z dot dot slash w slash n. Correct. So now this is again a 32-bit IP address, and that's the reason we have x dot y dot z dot w. But this particular slash n over there, the n depicts the number of bits present in the block or a network. Or we can say a network part. Correct. So this n is going to define as a number of bits present in the block or a network part. For example, say I have an IP address as 204.40.30.40 slash 28. Correct. So now what does it mean? For a given IP address, over here, my block part is going to have, or my network will be having of 28 bits. So all 28 number of bits will be 1 over here and remaining bit will be 0. So my network ID part will have all these 28 bits with 1 and the remaining are 4 bits. So what does this say? My network ID, my network part will have 28 bits, all ones, correct? And my host part will have only 4 bits. How these 4 bits has come? Because 38 minus 28, sorry, 32 minus 28, which is going to be 4 bits. And these all will be all zeros. Right. So this is how I will be finding network part and the host part from the given notation. Correct. Now from this, now we'll go with the calculation of number of hosts, the network ID part, and then what are the start address, end address, and like this. Correct. So now from given IP address, right, from given this part, how many number of hosts will be there? Can anybody tell me how many number of hosts will be there? So here I have 4 bits for the host. So 2 raised to 4 is going to be my number of hosts, which is going to be 16. So there will be 16 number of hosts. Correct? There will be 16 number of hosts. Again, the same concept applied here or here also. Out of this 16, two addresses will be reserved, the one for the network itself and another for the broadcasting address. Correct. So the usable host addresses for a given or the host addresses which can be assigned to different machines will be only 14 because we have only 4 bits for the host. Right. All of you there with me, like how to find a number of bits. Now we will check about the network ID. और नेटवर्क आईडी कैसे फाइंड आउट करना है नेटवर्क आईडी के लिए? सो व्हाट वी से, सेट ऑल नेटवर्क बिट्स 1 and host bits as 0. That will be my network ID. Correct. So first byte is going to be all ones. Second byte is again going to be all ones. Third byte is again going to be all ones. So like this, my 28 bits will be all ones. Correct. My 28 bits will be all ones. So how it will go? See, 1, 2. See, I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. One bunch of ones. Correct. Then I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many happen? 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Correct. So how does this comes to 24? It is, and then 28 we want to move to. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are my 28 bits which are 1 and remaining will be 0. Remaining 4 will be 0. So this is going to give me the network ID. Okay, so what is my network ID mask over here is 255.255.255 dot. What is this particular number? It is my 240. I hope you understood how it comes. See, for this, how to convert it. So whenever we have a number, we will be taking it as 2 raised to 0, 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 4, 2 raised to 5, 2 raised to 6 and 2 raised to 7 and writing the number value for all these powers. Correct. And when I say this first 4 bits are set to 1 and last 4 bits are set to 0, then what I will do, I will add the values of first 4 bits. So you can see this when I add this first 4 values bits, it comes to as 240. So that is going to be my network ID part. Understood? So this is going to be my mask for a network. This is going to be my mask for a network. Correct. Now after this, correct. Now what we have to do, we need to find out the host. Correct. The first part is, see, this is my mask. This is my network mask. Correct. What is my block ID? So this is a network ID, which is my mask. So what is my block ID? So in block ID, what I always say, block ID का मतलब क्या हुआ? वो आपका network का ID क्या है? आपके interface का ID क्या है? Correct. So when we say that my block, whenever I want to define my block ID, what I will be doing is, what is the rule for it? The rule for it is do not touch the network bits part. Correct. So what is my network bit part? The network bit part is going to be my, see, or another method is I am supposed to, and the method which we have seen just now is I am supposed to add this mask will be and with a given IP address, say 204.40.30.40. I will be the AND operation for both of this. Correct. So अभी देखो ये आगे फर्स्ट 3 बाइट्स जो है वो 255 है, तो 255 को ऐड करेंगे किसी भी नंबर के साथ तो दैट विल कम द नंबर इटसेल्फ. So this 204.40.30 will be as it is. Correct. We need to find out just this last byte. So for last byte, what we have to do, we need to convert it into the binary number form. So last byte only I am converting into the binary format. So over here it is 240 and then I have 40. So what will be 40? 40 will be 00101, 00101 and then triple zeros. Correct. So this will come as 001 and then all remaining zeros. Correct. So this is going to be my 32. This is going to be my 32. So what is my block ID? So my block ID will be, it will be 204.40.30.32/28. So this is going to be my block ID. Understood all of you? This is going to be my block ID. So how I will be knowing this particular network? This particular network will be known as .32/28. What does it mean? My network ID is my network or my interface ID or my block ID is going to be .32. And how many bits are there for the network part? There are 28 bits for the network part, right? So this is how this particular network will be known. This is my classless addressing. Again, I will revise. For classless addressing, we do not have a different classes A, B, C, D, E, no classes. Because classes defines the boundary. Here we don't need a boundary. Here, whatever is user expected, that has to be given by the authority. So suppose I expect say 256 blocks, then I should get 256. If I expect 1024 blocks, I should get 1024 blocks. If I expect 2 raised to 18 blocks, so that I must get. So whatever is requirement of a user, that must be approved by the authority. So this classless addressing is noted as x.y.z.w/n, where n is number of bits present in my block or a network. Now take an example of IP address. It is 204.40.30.40/28. Now this /28 is my network part. What does it mean? All 28 bits will be 1 in this case, and that is my network. So to find out the default mask, we will be setting these 28 bits all once, and that will be my default mask. So when I set this 28 bits as 1, you can say this is my mask. Right? So when I set all these 28 bits as 1, it will come as 255.255.255.240. So that is going to be my mask. Now from this, I need to find out my network ID, because till now I haven't found the network ID कि आपका जो network है से pqr.com, वो network आप कोई तो IP address से identify करते हो, right? Your router must have some IP address to identify a complete network, that pqr.com. So that will be found with, that network will be found with ending my mask with a given IP address. So when I add these two, I get .32/28 as my block ID or my mask or my identification for a given block, right? So this is going to give me a block ID. Correct. Now how many hosts will be there? So this, see, there are 4 bits for the host, because 28 bits network ke hai, so 32 minus 28 is my 4 bits. So these 4 bits are for net host, correct? So how many 4 bits ka meaning kya hua? 2 raised to 4. So 16 hosts will be there. Out of the 16 hosts, the first host will be my block ID, and the last host will be my broadcast address. The last address will be my broadcast address. First address will be my block ID, correct? So remaining 14 number of hosts will have the addresses over here. So my first address will be starting with 0010, 3 zeros 1, and it will end up to 15, correct? So that variation will be there for my host ID parts, correct? So there are few rules for this. AIDR, CIDR addressing, or the few rules for this classless addressing. So these rules are, the first is address should be contiguous, correct? It should be a continuous address. The number of address in a block must be in the power of 2, and the first address of every block must be evenly divisible with the size of a block. So these are few rules for this classless addressing. So I hope this classless addressing is also clear with all of you with the numerical.